Welcome back, everyone. I'm really excited about our lesson today. So today we're going to be doing hand print using masking fluid. It's going to be really fun. It's going to take a little bit of patience, so you're going to have to wait and take your time doing this activity. Okay, so let's get started. For this project, we're going to need some 9 by 12 watercolor paper. And one thing you should know about some watercolor papers is that one side is smooth and one side has a little bit of texture. We're going to be using the textured side, so you want to make sure that you do that. The next thing we're going to need is some masking tape. And what you're going to do is you're going to mask off the edges of your painting, and you're basically going to just tape it to the table. And so you might need to get help from an adult. You don't want to use just any kind of masking tape. You want to make sure that it is an actual masking tape, because if you just use any kind of tape, it may not come off as easily, and it also may not keep the paint from going into that area. Masking means that we want it to mask that area so it stays white. So you're just going to take the tape. It doesn't have to be perfect. And you want to just put it on the, tape it onto the table and give yourself a little bit of a border. Like that. And then you just tape it right onto the table. Then you're going to get another long piece. And you're going to tape that onto the table. And so you're putting about half of the tape, the piece of tape, onto the paper and half of it onto the table. And it doesn't have to be exactly perfect. So there you go. So there is your masking tape. One thing you're going to want to make sure before you tape it down is that you're going to want to use a pencil to write your name in the corner, on the bottom, on the back. This project, it's a good idea to do that. You can sign it later if you want, but just at the beginning, just write your name with a pencil on the back, very small and lightly with a pencil. So we're going to be using some masking fluid. This masking fluid is kind of expensive, but it goes a long ways, and it is really easy to use. You only need a little tiny bit. So when you're getting ready to use this, you have to be ready to do it. And only one person at a time can do this. You might need the help of an adult. You need to make sure that your hand, whichever hand you want, is clean and dry. You don't want to have anything like rings or any bracelets or anything on there. And make sure that you don't have any dirt or leftover markers. So really scrub your hands and make sure they're very dry before you do this. You're going to take a paper plate, make sure it's big enough for your entire hand to fit into, and then you're going to put a little bit in there, and then you're very quickly going to coat your hand. Make sure you get your whole entire hand. And then go straight there, put it straight down, press down, do not to the side, and then pull it up. And then you'll see that there's a kind of a light print of my hand in there. Now your hand is all dirty, so what you're going to want to do is you're going to go wash it right away. You could let it dry and then peel it all off, because it will come off in a few minutes. You can see it's already actually starting to dry on my hands, and it dries quickly on here. You're not going to do anything with this, and you're just going to let it sit until it's completely dry and there's no shine to it. And you don't want to touch it at all. Okay, so don't test it to see if it's dry. It will not be shiny and look wet when it's dry. Okay, so go wash your hands and then come back and wait. Okay, so one thing you can do to help your masking fluid dry is just to fan it. So you can use a fan, or you can use a clean piece of paper or a clean paper plate. So once it's dry, it will not be tacky anymore. And it might be a little bit shiny, especially where it's thicker. So you might want to have a teacher check it. I wouldn't just like stick my finger in it, but you can have somebody just like check it and see. If you stick to it, it's not ready. But if you're able to touch it and it doesn't leave any marks, then it's ready. Mine's almost ready. Okay, so here we are. Mine's pretty ready. So what I'm gonna do is today I'm gonna demonstrate two different brushes. I've got a flat brush and I've got a round brush. And I've got my paints. And then I'm just gonna start painting. And I'm going to use a lot of purples in mine. I wish I had a big watercolor set, which you guys can use the bigger watercolor sets to get more color. And I'm gonna paint. And I might use this brush to pull some paint. I might use my flat brush, if it's dry, to pull some paint, to do some different things. Then I'm gonna pull a little blue, and I wanna put some blue in that wet. So I'm just gonna paint, and I'm gonna go right, I need to make sure that I paint everywhere on my entire page. I don't wanna leave any white. Because where my handprint is, where the masking fluid is, it's gonna keep it white there, and you can see how it starts to pull off. I can even pull that color off of there and use it. I'm gonna stick to 3 colors for this. I'm gonna use blue and purple and red. Get some red in there. Because as we know, red and blue make purple, and purple is my favorite color. And so now it's just the waiting game. So you are welcome to use a paper plate or a fan. You can also use a tissue to pull up some of the water, especially if you use a soft tissue or hard tissue, or you can use a crumpled up paper. That's kind of cool too. And then the next step will be when it's completely dry. So you don't want it to go too long, so don't leave it overnight. But maybe, leave it for an hour. You want to wait until the paper is pretty much dry. This is watercolor paper. It's not a super expensive watercolor paper, but it's a pretty nice watercolor paper, so it should absorb pretty quickly. So my painting is almost dry. I did blot it a little bit because I wanted it to blend a little bit more. Also, I blotted on top of the hand to make sure that it would stay off of there, and it would just dry a little bit faster there. Now you could do one of two things. You could leave this like this, and it would be a little bit shiny, and it's going to be kind of like a faded, or you can wait till it's completely dry. You may have to pull up your the tape here if you need to use that space, and maybe you can, if you pull it all up, you can do this. You just pull up one of the bottom pieces, whatever the first piece is, you pull that from that direction. You pull the whole thing up, and then it's easily movable, so you can put it on a counter somewhere. You do want to have the tape on it and the tape holding it down if you decide you want to try to remove the masking fluid. So when it's time, it's got to be completely dry. I mean, the masking fluid can't be sticky. It has to be, all the moisture has to be gone. And to do that, put this down. And so all the moisture has to be dry, and it can't move or anything. To do that, you're gonna gently rub your thumb on the end, and you'll start to see, if it's ready, you'll start to see it start to peel up a little bit like this. And so you can, and you just start rubbing it, and use your thumb to gently pull it like this. But mine is not quite ready. It's not quite dry enough, so I'm gonna wait a little bit longer. And you'll see it kind of feels like rubber cement if you've ever played with that. Or like a really fun like oobleck. And see, then you can start to pull it up. As you can see, I have a little bit of color bleed right here, and it's actually just from me touching my painting. So you want to wait until it's like really done. So you can just peel it like this. If you're a younger painter or artist, you might want to just leave it like that, or just wait until it's really dry and get the help of an adult, or you can leave it because it's cool either way. And you're just gonna pull like this. You're gonna see more white. You can see that I've got quite a bit of color right here, and that color could be on the paper, or it could just be sitting on top. So it's up to you how you want it to turn out. It is really cool though when you see it, and I know it's tricky. So mine's not quite ready. So when it's ready, it literally rolls up. So you just keep pushing it like this, and you use your thumb to start. So I'm gonna leave mine alone because I don't want to ruin it, because I really like it. So that's pretty much what you need to do. And if you guys need any help, let me know. I can also help you guys in the afternoon with taking them off, or if you want to leave it on there, that's cool too. When you're all done, you can gently pull the tape. You take off the last tape, so the one that's on the very top. You're gonna take that off first, and you're gonna gently pull and remove the tape, and it has this really great border. It may not be exactly perfect or straight. Mine isn't. And then I'm just gonna pull them all off. If it starts to rip, don't worry. Just grab another side and pull it gently from there, like this. And you just want to pull slowly. Don't try to force it. This is really good masking tape, so you have to do it well. There you go. And there's your painting. Happy painting.